All right, we'll call our regular session to order. I'll introduce the interpreter, Jose Medina.
Si alguien desea escuchar esta conferencia en español, puede obtener un dispositivo electrónico con audífonos a la entrada del cuarto de conferencias.
Thank you. For your information, this meeting is being webcast live and recorded. The recording or webcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. If Mrs. Naylor would lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance. You've gotten pretty good at this.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, there was no action taken in closed session this evening. We have one revision, enclosure number 7 on the agenda, consent agenda. And then we'll go back to the Student Achievement Awards. Mr. Waters, if you would, please.
Good evening, board members, President Crabtree, and Superintendent Raveline. I'm Mike Waters, Area Administrator, and tonight we have the pleasure of recognizing outstanding high school students in the areas of mathematics, physical education, and overall student achievement. These students represent the best of the best from our schools in the areas for which they have been selected, and we are very proud of them for their accomplishments and for how they represent their schools and their district and their families. Each of them is certainly worthy of this special recognition tonight. But before we begin, I would first like to recognize and thank the parents and families of each of these outstanding students. Your support and encouragement is valued and appreciated. I would also like to recognize and thank their teachers and school staff who have supported them in their learning and their successes. All of us share pride in the accomplishments of these students. Also, photos of tonight's award presentation will be published in the VUSD electronic newsletter. If you would like to be added to our mailing list and receive the newsletter, please print your name and email address clearly on the form, and they're at the back of the table, in the back on the table. We are very happy to be able to take a few minutes tonight to honor these students and hear about their accomplishments. Students, tonight you will receive a medal as part of your recognition, which you are invited to wear as your regalia at your commencement or graduation ceremony in June. So hang on to that and wear it as part of your graduation ceremony. At this time, I would like to invite Adolfo Reyes, principal of Sequoia High School, to the podium to get us started.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Board President Crabtree, Superintendent Dr. Raveline, and board members. I am Adolfo Reyes, the proud principal of Sequoia High School, the school that restores. Tonight, I have the honor of an amazing student. Thank you for joining me. See, just bam, it happened. Is Desiree Reina Rivera. Let me tell you why she's so amazing. One, first, she's a Sequoia student, but she was raised by her mother, single mom, and I want to give her recognition. Reina Gonzalez, thank you so much for all you've done for your daughter. What makes Reina amazing is that she dedicated the last few sessions to her grandpa who passed, but she's maintained above a 3.6 and even a 4.0, and she's done amazing. She's also started behind in credits, but at this session, she'll be done fairly short. I believe only 5 credits left, very few, and then she'll earn her high school diploma. She will be going on to COS, where she wants to transfer from there to Fordham University, major in music, and come back as a music teacher. She owes a lot to, she says, Ms. Tarango, her homeroom teacher, who keeps pushing her and expects more of her each day. She also has been very active in ASB and the dance group. Folks, I give you a very amazing student, Desiree. Thank you.
Good evening, board members, President Crabtree, and Superintendent Reveline. My name is Michelle Reed, and I serve as principal of Visalia Charter Independent Study. I am proud to present VCIS' Student Overall Achievement Award to Razan Altareb. Razan, please come to the podium. Razan is joined here this evening with her brother. Razan is an excellent student. She is organized, determined, and possesses a strong desire for growth and knowledge. She is always prompt and prepared and reliable. Her goal-oriented demeanor has helped her to excel in all areas during her high school career. While attending VCIS and maintaining a 4.0 GPA, Razan has also taken numerous COS classes where she also has maintained a 4.0 GPA. When she is not attending school, you can find Razan working at her family business. Due to her strong work ethic and determination, Razan will be graduating from VCIS a full year early. So she is technically 3 years in high school and graduating. She is a well-rounded, focused on her future, and she is determined to succeed. I have no doubt that she will be successful in all aspects of her life. After high school, Razan plans on attending COS for 2 years and then transferring to a 4-year university. She's still undecided about her major, but has a passion for English and writing. It is with great pleasure that I present this Overall Achievement Award to Razan Altareb. Congratulations.
Good evening, Board President Crabtree, Superintendent Ravline, members of the board. My name is Bill Davis, and I'm proud to serve as principal of VTech High School. I would like to ask Natalie Hernandez to join me at the podium. Yeah. VTech is proud to recognize Natalie Hernandez as the Outstanding Academic Student of the Season. Natalie is a senior at VTech, and she's the daughter of Melissa and Alonzo Hernandez, who are here tonight with us. She has a GPA of 3.98 and to date has completed 18 units at College of Sequoias. Natalie also has the distinction of being one of the first students at VTech to earn the CSF Life membership recognition. Natalie is a true leader on campus. She is the vice president of the VTech FFA and has earned her state degree. She has her own breeding sheep and shows sheep at the Tulare County Fair. She's been an active participant in the elementary school farm tours and a presenter during our middle school recruitment tours this past spring. Natalie's true passion is horses. Just ask her. She's the president of the Visalia Rockettes, which is an equestrian drill team that competes around the state. They've been state champions for the last 3 years. She's actually missing practice tonight, but then it rained, so we're okay. She's going to take this passion and turn it into a career. She wants to transfer to Reedley College, go Tigers, and major in equine science and then transfer to a university. Her career goal is to be an equestrian trainer or an equine breeder. When I asked her why VTech, she said VTech stood out to her. She said she felt like she could continue on her path and begin to prepare for her future. I would like to add, Natalie has been a huge help to me when I go to recruitment events. She is an amazing public speaker. Whether it's 500 8th graders or 300 adults, she's always articulate and inspiring. She has a wonderful heart for people and a warm and welcoming personality. I know we're going to see big things from this amazing young lady. VTech is proud to present the Overall Academic Achievement Award to Natalie Hernandez.
Good evening, Board President Crabtree, Superintendent Ravalin, board members. My name is Anna Ramirez, and I serve as the proud Learning Director of Creekside Community Day School. At this time, I'd like to ask Estrella Cardenas to come up to the podium, please. Estrella, or as we call her, Star, is joined tonight by her mother, Catalina Ramos, and an entourage of staff from Creekside Community Day School. Star, just a little background. Star was expelled in February of 2019. The beginning of the school year was extremely rough for her. We were a little concerned. She missed some school, and we're very worried that she had just dropped out. She came back. We got her to come back, and she is now a 4.0 student, is able to utilize her coping skills to help her get through difficult situations, and she is very receptive to our restorative practice approaches that we use at Creekside. Star is, I'm very passionate about most students. Star is a special, well, one of our special ones. She has faced a lot of adversity in her life and continues to do so, but even with all that adversity, she is determined to succeed, and we are there to support her. She wants to be a phlebotomist and go into the nursing field. Her goal is to go to college anywhere in California away from Visalia. So Star is very, very committed and very dedicated to improving her life and making positive choices. And it is for these reasons and many more that I am honored to present this Overall Student Achievement Award to Estrella Cardenas.
Star, we need you to come back to Visalia after you learn your skills. Okay.
Well, I was trying to give my student a little more time to get here, but it doesn't look like he's going to make it this evening. He's from Dinuba, so I'm wondering if with the weather that he just wasn't able to make it tonight. So I just want to give you a little information on him. So good evening, Board President Crabtree, Superintendent Ravalin, and board members. I'm Tammy Olson, Visalia Adult School Principal, and tonight we are proud to honor our outstanding student, Alejandra Acosta Rodriguez. Alejandro is supported tonight, we're hoping, by his mother, and he's also supported by his welding instructor, Mitchell Tennant, and his fellow classmates. Alejandro is from Dinuba, and in January, he enrolled in our welding course. Alejandro stated that he is using some previous downfalls as motivation to do better. He gives more attention and effort in what he does now, and he has become proficient in multiple welding processes and has also learned to run the plasma table after just a few class sessions. His instructor, Mitchell Tennant, stated, Alejandro has shown excellent understanding in the welding shop and has far exceeded my expectations for this level of class. He is very respectful, a good listener, and is very honest. Alejandro will go far in this field of work, I have no doubts. Alejandro stated his mother and his teacher, Mitch, are his role models, and his plan is to hopefully own his own business with his mother and brother. So I'm proud to honor Alejandro Acosta Rodriguez this evening as Visalia Adult School's outstanding student.
Did you sneak in? He's here. I was looking all over for you and you snuck in.
Let's put it on him then.
Yes.
Let's do it right. See, it snuck in.
That's all right. Well, I'm sorry I didn't see you.
There you go. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's the picture.
Just waiting for her to grab a seat. Good evening, Board President Crabtree, Superintendent Dr. Ravelin, and board members. My name is Jesus Gonzalez. I am Assistant Principal at Redwood High School, and I'm here to present Redwood High School students for this recognition. If I could please have Sophie Ivankovic, please join me up front. And just to come up. And I better double check with Brian Rangel. If you're here, please step up. I believe he's not going to be with us this evening, but I just want to double check. So, Sophie Ivankovic is a Redwood Mathematics Department's outstanding student. Sophie's here tonight with her parents, Philip and Julie Ivankovic. Want to give them a round of applause also? Sophie is an exceptional mathematics student. She has taken a challenging schedule of mathematics courses during her years at Redwood High School. She has taken Math 3 honors as a freshman, pre-calculus as a sophomore, AP Calculus as a junior, and AP Statistics as a senior. She has been one of the top students in her math classes and has earned A's in all of her math classes because of her attention to precision and completes all her work and has a deep understanding of the material. Sophie isn't just an exceptional math student. She's an exceptional overall student as she has taken 7 advanced placement courses, 1 dual enrollment course, and 3 years of Spanish courses, and 4 years of choir courses during her time at Redwood. She is currently ranked 18th in her class of 465 senior students with a 4.2 GPA. After graduation, Sophie plans to attend the University of California and major in psychology with the goal of becoming a children's therapist. I am very proud and honored to present to you Sophie Ivankovic.
Congratulations.
Go ahead and read the second one before we go on. So give us a minute, I'll read that. Yes. Our other student who is not here this evening, Brian Rangel, is Redwood's Physical Education Department's outstanding student. Brian is not here tonight, I was going to say he's here tonight, with Francisco and Maria Gaston. Brian has been actively involved in physical education courses since his freshman year and has always been an outstanding student in all his PE classes. Brian is a student who leads by example, is kind to others, and is a great role model for his fellow students. Brian has also excelled in athletics as well during his time at Redwood, where he has participated in football for 4 years, track and field as a junior, and wrestling as a senior. Brian has also been actively involved in the Christian in Actions Club and Computer Club at Redwood while running his own auto detailing business after school hours at his house. That's probably where he's at right now. After graduation, Brian plans to attend COS and continue to play football with a potential career of going into law enforcement in his future. I'm very proud and honored to present Brian Rangel with this Outstanding Achievement Award.
Good evening, board members, President Crabtree, and Superintendent Ravelin. My name is Jeff Hahn, and I'm the principal of El Diamante High School. I'd like to present tonight's student for recognition. We have 2, one of whom is here. The other one is at opening of the WYL in Hanford. So I will bring up the student that's here, Yibo Liang. Yibo, if you can come on up. This is Yibo Liang. He's El Diamante's math department's outstanding student. Yibo is here tonight with his parents, Ray Ling Yuan and Jameen Liang. And Yibo was nominated by Mr. Brad Robb and Mr. John Felstrom. Yibo Liang deserves to be recognized for his outstanding academic efforts and his contributions to our community. Yibo has excelled in every math class he has taken. During the traditional school year, Yibo has taken Math 2, Math 3, Pre-Calculus, and recently AP Calculus. While in Math 3, Yibo did not miss a single problem the entire year. Yibo currently is number 3 in our class with a 4.43 GPA and is one of our natural 4.0s, never anything less than an A. Yibo understands the importance of having a well-rounded high school career. In addition to his academics, Yibo is a member of the California Scholastic Federation, and he's a part of El Diamante's academic decathlon, just last month winning first place in Tulare County's competition, headed to state. As of yesterday, as of this morning, they have canceled state. So he has represented El Diamante with pride in his community and in everything he has done. After graduation, Yibo plans to have a career in medicine. We have no doubt that he will be very successful in achieving this goal, given his skills, talents, and determination to succeed at whatever he does. I'm proud and honored to present to you Yibo Liang, LD's Math Department's outstanding student. Congratulations. I'm going to read very quickly. Riley Creech, he's our PE department's outstanding students, and as I mentioned, he is pitching tonight against Hanford in the WYL opener. Riley's taken all of his PE courses during the traditional school year, excelling in integrated core 1, 2, and currently in his weight training class. Riley is a member, as I mentioned, of our high school baseball team, earning second team All-WYL as a sophomore, first team All-WYL, and pitcher of the year last year as a junior. While participating in extracurricular activities, Riley has been able to maintain a high GPA and earn honor roll every semester. After graduation, Riley plans to attend college and continue his baseball career, majoring in sports medicine. He plans to pursue a career in sports medicine or become a firefighter. And again, like with Yibo, we have no doubt that he'll be successful, and that is Riley Creech, our PE department's outstanding student.
Good evening, board members, President Crabtree, and Superintendent Ravelin. My name is Jose Fregoso, proud principal of Golden West High School. It is a pleasure to present the following students for board recognition. I'm going to have Josue Magana and Jesus Alvarez please come up. I'm going to start with the math department's outstanding student, Josue Magana. He was nominated by Mr. Wiley and the math department. His parents are Leticia and Agustin Magana. Mr. Wiley wrote, I have known Josue since his freshman year in Honors Math 2. He was an exceptional student then and remains one today in AP Statistics. He demonstrates incredible understanding of mathematical concepts. He is kind and pleasant, always quick to help others when asked. Josue personifies a strong work ethic and determination. There is never a doubt that his work is complete and well done. He has been a pleasure having him in class because he is attentive, inquisitive, and eager to learn. He makes teaching fun. I have no doubt that he will be successful in anything he chooses to do in the future. Josue has a college grade point average of 4.16. He plans to attend Fresno State to major in environmental science and a minor in chemistry. Although Josue excels in academics, he is a very well-rounded student. Josue has been an integral part of the orchestra team for the last 4 years. He's been in advanced band for the last 3 years, where he is the band section leader, captain, and the head photographer in yearbook. It is a pleasure to recognize Josue Magana as the outstanding student for the math department. Our outstanding student for the Physical Education Department is Jesus Alvarez. He was nominated by Mr. Jeff Jennings, who is here tonight, supporting him, and the PE department. His parents are Cecilia and Jose Alvarez. Jesus is a senior at Golden West. In the last 8 months, he has utilized a weight training class, consistently utilizing the Fit Republic gym, and drastically changed his eating habits, and now follows a ketogenic diet to go from 322 pounds to 226. Dropping close to 100 pounds has been an amazing feat. 8 months ago, Jesus didn't like how he looked, so he took control of his fitness and nutrition habits and changed his appearance. During his time at Golden West, he has taken control of his academic grades as well. Each semester has been an improvement in grade point average from the previous one. His hard work and dedication to his physical well-being and his academics has paid off. It is a pleasure to recognize Jesus Alvarez as Golden West's outstanding student for the Physical Education Department. Congratulations.
Good evening, board members, President Crabtree, Superintendent Raveline, parents and families. My name is Rick Hamilton, and I'm the proud principal of Mount Whitney High School. I'd like to bring Trent Gibble and Ivy Zhang up to the podium with me. So Trent's first. So first up tonight, in the area of physical education, we have Mr. Trent Gibble, supported by his parents Keith and Jennifer Gibble, and nominated by teachers Mrs. Mosier and Mr. Chamberlain. Trent Gibble is a senior and was selected as the PE Student Outstanding Student of the Year by all of the PE department. Coach Chamberlain says that he's one of the hardest working students he has had to date. He always goes above and beyond what is required. He does a great job motivating his peers while pushing himself. Trent is a great class leader, leads by example, and is respectful to peers and instructors. Trent was a team captain for football as well as this year's All-American. Something new that I learned was his first name was Trent, because for 4 years he's been Gibble to everybody. So it's one of the fun things about doing this is you get to learn something new. So, hi Trent. Upon graduation, he plans to attend COS to play football while working on his undergraduate studies. Congratulations to Trent Gibble. Next, in the area of mathematics, we have Miss Ivy Zhang. She's supported by parents Becky Chen and Ken Zhang, and nominated by Mr. Nelson. Ivy has a passion for knowledge and a love of learning that makes her an absolute joy to have as a mathematics student. Her intellectual capability helps her grasp difficult concepts quickly and apply concepts to new problems. She's inquisitive and asks great questions that help all the students in the class to gain deeper understanding. Her talents extend beyond mathematics, as she has a cumulative GPA of 4.27, earned through a variety of AP and dual enrollment college classes. She has excelled all 4 years, being one of the select few to be a natural 4.0. And as a reminder, that means over 42 courses, she has 42 A's. She shares her talents as an after-school tutor and the treasurer of CSF, where she will become a life member upon graduation. In addition to academic excellence, Ivy is a 4-year member of the track team. Her attitude and work ethic exemplify what Mount Whitney strives to cultivate. It is a pleasure to recognize Ms. Ivy Zhang as Mount Whitney High School's outstanding student in mathematics.
really some amazing students. The board loves hearing these stories. It makes us pretty proud, too. But most of all, this happens because of the backing of the parents and the family that support these kids through school. So we would like to ask those people who are the family and the parents to stand and be recognized by the board. We'd like to thank you all for coming this evening. You're all welcome to hang around and see what happens at the rest of these board meetings. But if you'd like, we'll take a couple of minutes and allow you to exit the building if you would like. Thank you again. I'll again introduce the interpreter, Jose Medina, so he can take his second bow.
Si alguien deseara escuchar esta conferencia en español, puede obtener un dispositivo electrónico con audífonos a la entrada del cuarto de conferencias.
I have already made the announcement that we are being recorded and webcast, so anything you say will be captured likely. We've also done the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll say again that there was no action taken in closed session this evening. And now we'll have public recognition. Mr. Waters, did you sneak out? Yes, he did. Well, we'll take just a minute. Come right up. That's fine. You bet. Yeah, sure.
All right, you can join me right here, okay? Did your parents come with you? Yeah. Where are they at? I do have the medal. Medal for you. So you can stand right here, that way they can really see you. Then I'm gonna read out what we have here, and then we'll take the recognition, all right? All right, thank you. Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, so you went to the home address? Okay, that's all right. Not a problem. May I start?
Go ahead.
All right. So we have our other students showing up here from Redwood. Brian Rangel is Redwood's Physical Education Department's outstanding student. Brian is here tonight with his mother, Maria Gasca. Brian has been actively involved in physical education courses since his freshman year and has always been an outstanding student in all of his PE classes. Brian is a student who leads by example, is kind to others, and is a great role model for his fellow students. Brian has also excelled in athletics during his time at Redwood, where he has participated in football for 4 years, track and field as a junior, and wrestling as a senior. Brian has also been actively involved in Christians in Actions Club, computer club at Redwood, while also running his own auto detailing business after school hours at his house. After graduation, Brian plans to attend COS and continue to play football with the potential career of going into law enforcement in his future. I am very proud and honored to present to you Brian Rangel. Congratulations. We're going to put the medal. No, it's okay. It's all right.
Awesome.
Thank you. Good. Congratulations. We'll take a photo with you. Okay? Right, okay? Thank you. So you can hold on to that.
All right, public recognition for Frank Williams and Debbie Tuttle. Mr. Waters, if you do the presentation, please.
Good evening, President Crabtree, board members, Superintendent Raveline, Mike Waters, Area Administrator, and tonight I have the distinct pleasure of recognizing Frankie Williams and Debbie Tuttle, and I'd like to invite them, along with Mr. Gustanian, to come up and join me. Thank you. Would like to thank Frankie and Debbie for their support and assistance with Visalia Unified School District students, and also the many, many organizations that they're involved in the community. Let me give you a little background. I'm going to talk about Keith, their son, Keith Williams, for a minute. PFC Keith M. Williams was the youngest of 3 children of Debbie and Frankie. He graduated from El Diamante High School in June 2013 and enlisted in the United States Army. On July 24, 2014, while on a mission in Afghanistan, Keith was mortally wounded after his vehicle was hit by an IED. He was just 19 years old. Frankie, I've known Frankie for a long time, and I want to also tell Frankie that how proud I am of him and how much I look up to him as a young man who joined the Navy during the Vietnam era. And he was someone that, in the place where we lived, someone that we all looked up to. And Frankie spent 20 years serving and retired from the U.S. Navy. Native Americans have always played a vital role in this country, in the military, throughout this country, and in this community as well. Frankie's standing right here, and I'm talking about his son. Keith was a Native American of the Yokut tribe. Keith was very active in the Native American community. He participated in powwows, dancing, and the sweat lodge ceremonies. In high school, Keith was bright, easygoing kid who participated in band, drumline, football, link crew, and assisted incoming freshmen, and he was a member of the homecoming court his senior year. He was also my friend and a student aide in the front office. Since Keith's passing, Frank and Debbie have been involved in many, many community organizations and causes. I will mention just 2 tonight. The Keith M. Williams Scholarship Fund, which is given out every year to deserving El Diamante High School seniors, and the Central Valley Honor Flight for local veterans. Some of the money for these 2 causes is raised in part through the PFC Keith Williams Memorial Scholarship Tournament hosted at Golden West High School and led by friend, teacher, and coach Russell Gustanian. I want to turn just a little bit of time over to Russell.
Well, first I would like to thank all of you for sharing us some time together, acknowledging one of our best and brightest, which was Keith Williams. I had the honor and pleasure of being his teacher for 2 years, first as a world history teacher and then as a U.S. history teacher, and he was the kid that would light up the room with that witty comment. He made the classroom come alive, and we were friends. I left and went over to Golden West, and in that summer that I found out that we had lost Keith, our paths became one. The Williams family has allowed me to be part of the journey of celebrating and acknowledging and continuing the legacy of what Keith represented. Keith was that light in our community that will never grow dark because of what he could share with all of us. And unfortunately, although we've lost him, the family has continued to allow us to bring his legacy alive, first through the scholarship funds and acknowledging some really wonderful young kids on both sides of our town at El Diamante and at Golden West. And then we've continued by bringing together this tournament so that we can make sure that the family is able to support that vision of keeping his legacy alive. This last year, we raised over $2,700 for Central Valley Honor Flight. The previous year, we raised over $1,000. And this coming year, I'm hoping that we can continue to support that legacy and keep this memory alive so that his death was not in vain. The Williams family has continued to open that wound of the loss of their child. Every time that they're able to give us the opportunity to help keep his memory alive, I know must be exceptionally difficult. I can never imagine nor ever want to imagine what they go through, but it's an honor to serve this community in Keith's memory, and I'd like to share a few more moments of our time together and allow Frankie to speak with us as well.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm honored to be here, first of all. Second of all, honored to have Mr. Waters, Mr. Castanian here to go ahead and stand beside me. And all of you here in the Visalia community and throughout the nation, we've received accolades and letters of support from multiple peoples, talking about Keith, who knew him, who didn't know him. We as parents who knew him and loved him, this is the reason why we move forward every day with helping keep his legacy alive. As some of you may notice, we just dedicated the Overpass at Acres for the Keith M. Williams Memorial Overpass. That was a 3-year journey with the red tape through the government, going through Caltrans, getting the signs made, and then doing all these things for him, because we, and I know all of you have special children, but we felt that this is what we wanted to do. Along with the basketball and along with Honor Flight, along with the scholarship, next year we'll be doing a golf tournament for him to keep that alive. Keith was he was a spiritual young man. He would follow me. I'm a bear dancer, so it's a medicine spiritual journey that I've had for many, many years, and Keith went with me to partake in that. And one of the things he enjoyed was being Native. And when he left to go to Afghanistan, he had a tattoo on his back shoulder. It's of a bear, because we were bear people. And he came home one day, he goes, "I want to show you something." I'm thinking, oh my God, what's this kid done now? Because he was very mischievous. He was a kid. He was a teenager. And, my wife, I travel a lot. So my wife would say, my wife would say, "You know what? I got up at 3 in the morning. Keith's not home." Oh, so I had to go outside and when I got home and nail the screens closed so he couldn't get out. He was out and about, on his skateboard, which he was going to try to teach Mr. Waters how to skateboard. So, but Keith, again, for us, a very wonderful young man. He was bright, articulate. He loved sports. He loved life. And but he had no sense of time. I was working a softball tournament down at San Diego State. I'm an umpire. And it's 4 in the morning. And he calls me. He says, "Dad, guess what I'm doing?" I says, "You're not sleeping, I'll tell you that." I says, "Well, what are you doing?" He says, "Well, I'm sleeping." Well, he's in Afghanistan. The time change, it's like he's 10 o'clock in the morning, So he didn't have any time, any sense of that. But I'm really honored to be here, and I want to share my boy with you guys. It's heart-wrenching at times. And I don't wish anyone to lose their child. And when people talk to me, they say, "You know what? I know what you're going through." My response is, "Have you lost a child?" They go, "No." I said, "All I want you to do is say, I'm sorry for your loss. And let's just move on with that, because you don't know." And I can tell you a quick story about my loss. And I can tell you every minute of what happened, because I was the director of a program on the Tule River. And I came home one evening, and I'm sitting in my Jeep, and across the way in my cul-de-sac is a green car. And I see 2 guys get out of it in uniform. And they're walking across, and I knew in my heart that they weren't coming to say my boy had won the Army Achievement Medal. I've been in combat. I know what happens when I see a chaplain come to your door. And, and I can see that every day. And the hardest part of that whole thing was when his mom was in Pittsburgh, I had to call her in Pittsburgh to let her know that Keith got killed. But it's what it is. We understood as parents what happens in combat. It's always somebody else's son. It's never yours. But, this time it was our son. And we always say, God has a timeline, a time you're born and a time you die. And there's no bargaining on either one of those. And it was just his time, and that's how we have to deal with that. I want to thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate it. Mr. President, could...
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Mr. Williams, thank you for sharing that story. And thank you for your sacrifice.
Sir, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm a mailman, and every day I pass by on the freeway, and I see that sign. I see it. I didn't know the person, obviously, and now tonight I have some idea of the person on that sign. And I can only say to you what General Marshall said in the movie, it was in the movie Saving Private Ryan, and it's this: may our Heavenly Father bless you with all the wonderful memories of the loved and lost. And that's what I would say to you tonight, sir. Thank you.
This is the time for general public comment. General public comment on any school-related topic may be heard at this time. The board asks that the public comment on an item listed on tonight's agenda be addressed at the time the item comes up for discussion by the board. Pursuant to board policy, the board may limit individual comments to no more than 3 minutes and individual topics to 20 minutes. It is recommended you begin your comments by stating your name. Is there any public comment? Mr. Price.
Good evening, President Crabtree, Superintendent Raveline, and board members. I have just a couple of comments to make. First of all, I want to say I'm very thankful for the rain. We've needed it badly, so even though I got soaked from my car to here, I'm drying off. I have a set of questions on 2 or 3 different topics that I am going to read today. This first topic will be discipline. I'm going to tell you that VUTA is officially requesting a written response to the following questions. The first one, and there's a series of them because there may be if/ors. Are we still a PBIS district? If so, what protocols are we following in PBIS? Follow up to that, if we are not a PBIS district, what discipline model are we now using? And has the current discipline system been communicated to all employees, parents, and students, and if so, how? So that's one, and I have these written. I'll give them to Delia, and she can dole them out to whoever wants them. Number 2, this one is also on discipline, And again, VUTA is requesting a written response from VUSD to the following question. If students are in a fist fight or roughhousing, what is the VUSD expectation and protocol for how teachers should react to that incident or a similar incident? And that's the end of the question, but I'm going to add to that, what is it that you expect the teachers to do? So that's another question. And then finally, this one's on budget. And VUTA is also officially requesting a written response from VUSD to the following questions. And the first part's a little bit of a statement. In 2018-19, VUSD designated $22,398,352 to 6 different fund accounts, not including the $44,444,194 that was designated out to reserve for economic uncertainties. That year, VUSD designated out $2,590,970 for LCAP reserve and $6,153,000 for LCAP balances carryover. These accounts were to be carried over to the 2019-20 year, and the total between these two accounts was $8,285,970. So my questions following that is, what is an LCAP reserve? I've never ever heard of that before or seen it in a budget. And what is LCAP balances carryover fund? And then the question that follows that is, how are those accounts used? And I would appreciate to get a response back for those. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Is there any other public comment? There being none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Any board member want to pull an item? I have a motion to accept the consent agenda. I have a motion by Mr. Fulmer, second by Mrs. Naylor. All in favor?
Motion passes unanimously.
Public recognition proclamation, a resolution for Cesar Chavez Day, March 31st, 2020. Mr. Guerrero.
Second book. Yeah, I'm looking for it.
Whereas the state of California has declared March 31st, 2020 as Cesar Chavez Day and has requested that all citizens of the state recognize his contribution, and whereas the state of California recognizes that Cesar E. Chavez, a U.S. Navy veteran and the founder of the United Farm Workers Union, was responsible for improving working conditions in the industry of agriculture and enhancing the safety and health of farm workers, and whereas the state of California has directed that every public school develop, prepare, and present appropriate class curriculum throughout the year to their students which will accurately reflect the life, work, philosophy of Cesar E. Chavez, and also the issues of the agricultural labor relations and the goals and accomplishment of the United Farm Workers Union, and whereas the state of California is preparing that all public and private agencies join in the celebration of Cesar E. Chavez Day with dignity, respect, and honor for a true American who sacrifices himself to build a better America. Now, therefore, it be resolved that Visalia Unified School District Board of Education hereby joins the state of California in the celebration of Cesar E. Chavez Day and encourages district staff and students to support this special day. Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Vasquez, second by Mr. Guerrero.
May I say something?
Comment?
Yes. 20 years ago, I know we're going to pass this resolution, and people will think it's just another resolution and we move on. 20 years ago, I introduced this resolution, and to my shock and horror, this resolution was defeated 5-2. I came back the following year to reintroduce this resolution, and it was passed. It wasn't passed easily. It took a lot of effort, this was a great American. All he did was try to get some dignity for women in the fields who wanted to go to the bathroom. He wanted a great pay raise for hardworking Americans, and he wanted people not to be exposed to DDT. And yet, he was opposed. And it was reflected on this board dais at the time 20 years ago. So we are passing this resolution with great enthusiasm and pride, and I'm grateful for this resolution. I'm definitely voting yes on this.
I have a motion and a second. All in, Ms. Vasquez.
May I also say that I am on the committee to the Cesar Chavez Legacy Celebration. For those of you who didn't know, in Visalia we have the longest running celebration march, and it just celebrates his life. It's his birthday. So March 28th, if you'd like to come out, we'll be leaving the Proteus area on 3rd Street, the community, whatever thing it's called. We gather there at 9 o'clock. We walk to Redwood High School, and then we'll be at COS on March 28th, and we'll have free pozole and it's a birthday party, music, dancing, but you're all welcome to come and march in celebration of Cesar Chavez. Thank you.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Well, just one comment, since comments are being made, that in 2001, when I became a board member, since that time we have consistently passed this resolution. The resolution passes unanimously.
All right. Focus on student learning. Presentation, charter renewal petition for Visalia Charter Independent Study, AKA VCIS. Mrs. Reed.
I know I saw it.
Good evening once again, board members, President Crabtree, and Superintendent Raveline. I am Michelle Reed. I serve as the principal of VCIS, and I'm here tonight to present the VCIS charter renewal. I'm going to start off by just giving you a little bit of an overview of the school. We are a dependent charter of Visalia Unified, so we also serve all the students in Visalia as well as surrounding communities. There's a constant flux of enrollment with our school, and so what that means is we're doing orientations and bringing on students probably twice a month, bringing in a new crop of students, and that's for various reasons. And then the students that do enroll with us, they're with us for a whole bunch of reasons. Religious reasons, anxiety, they want a smaller school atmosphere, they want to be able to accelerate their education, they're also looking for credit recovery, or there could be teen pregnancy. Now, as we move forward, especially when we're looking at our renewal and WASC and how we are moving forward as a school, there are some things that we do consider each year. These are some of the hurdles that we have to we face each year. And so we are measured as the same as a comprehensive high school and not a DAS school, which is an alternative education type setting. We don't meet that requirement, and so we have the same measures as all of our comp sites do here in Visalia. And this can be a challenge because of our high turnover rate. We typically enroll over 900 students throughout the school year, maintaining an average attendance of about 550 students. And then the majority of the students do enroll in our program during their 11th grade year, which leaves very little time to be able to support those students up to graduation. And many of the students have come to us failing at least one semester of math, which is a challenge. And we have very small cohorts of students that remain with the school for a total of 4 years. So that means, you know, they enroll freshman year and they graduate with us 4 years later, and that typically is about 40 students or less each year. And we are starting to see an increase of EL 1 and 2 levels. And the reasoning for that is they don't want to attend traditional schools, and that could be for religious reasons. And so they do come to our program because it's a smaller atmosphere. Some of the demographics of our school. And so, again, because we are a charter, we are able to enroll students from outside the district, so in the surrounding communities. So if you take a look in our district for 9th grade, 61 students. We have 12 students out of district. And again, I want to point out for 11th grade, that is where you're going to see the largest number of student enrollment at 150. 45 of those are from out of district for a total of enrollment of 195 students. And this was a snapshot of about a month ago, but this is pretty consistent with our enrollment each year. And then again, pretty significant population coming from out of district at about 18% of our student population is out of district. And then some of our additional demographics, again, this was a snapshot at about a month ago. The population of our site was about 536 students. We are typically, we have a higher population of female students, and that's a very typical percentage, 58 to 42%. And we are 72.5% SED. So we have a high population of needy students. And again, some additional demographic information. And this probably looks very similar to what our high schools look like. VCIS does offer 3 program options. I know we are independent study, but we are a very unique program. There really is not a program like ours, even up and down California. We get a lot of schools outside of our district that come visit our site to look at what we're doing for best practices with independent study, gleaning some of the best things that we are doing and taking them back to their site. And so really, when we look at the needs of students, we've been very flexible in what we offer students. So we do still have the traditional independent study program. This is probably our smallest percentage of students that are participating in this. And what I mean by that is when you think of a traditional independent study program, you think about students who come to visit their supervising teacher once a week, turn in their homework, take their tests, and that's really all they're doing. That's what the majority of independent study schools look like up and down California. This is, again, our smallest percentage. It's usually 12th grade students who are on track and have just a few credits left to graduate that don't take any classes, any classroom-based courses. Our next program is a hybrid where it's a mixture of the traditional independent study and classroom-based, seat-based. This is our largest percentage of students that are taking this type of program. We have required attendance in both math and science courses. And then we have a lot of additional additional requirements for 9th grade students to transition them to be successful in an independent study setting. And so there are a lot of other seat-based classes that we have to offer, but those are the required courses for core. And then we also have an online program. Currently, our enrollment is around 117 students. Students can complete their entire high school diploma in our online program. It is a very rigorous program, and so students that spend all their high school years in this really have earned that diploma. And then within that, because some of the courses within Edgenuity are so rigorous, students will try like a math course or a science course and they struggle in it. Some of them do end up taking our seat-based courses, so they are allowed to cross over a bit in that area. Some of the pathways that we are offering at this time, so we do have a child development pathway. We have food service and hospitality. We offer 3 different health science pathways in the fields of medical assistant, nurse's assistant, and pharmacy technician. We also have an arts, media, and entertainment where students can take dance. They have choir, we have professional music, which kind of lends itself to the guitar, and then also professional theater, which is our drama. And then we also have production and managerial arts and the stage technology. Some additional courses we have. Now, these are offered because, again, we know that not all students can or want to take seat-based courses. And so eDynamic is an online platform that we offer to all students. They are elective courses only. There are probably over 75 options. They add more every single year. They're always adding new options. And then many of them are CTE. The majority of them are CTE courses, and probably 95% of them are also A to G approved. All students on our campus, 9th through 12th grade, have access to these programs, and all students 9th through 12th take these programs or participate in these programs. Beyond our CTE pathways, we also have additional seat-based courses. We have art, we have multiple art classes. We have a marine biology, which is an A to G additional science course. We have computer programming. We have forensics. And then we also have a parenting class that we offer to our teen parents. So any student that is a teen parent that uses our daycare is required to take one of our parenting classes. And then we have a plethora of support classes available to all students. We've implemented an ELD course this year. We have core labs. Core labs are basically large cohorts of students who need additional support in their independent study program. The courses that are not classroom-based, for example, like an English class, students that struggle in that, they can actually come, they enroll into that program. It is just direct instruction from a credentialed teacher, so they can get additional support. If you think about it, it's really tutoring, but in a very structured setting for students. We have Math Assist, and then we also have reading intervention classes. So I want to go over some of our dashboard information from 18-19 so you can kind of see some of the growth that we've had. So from 2018 and our graduation rate, if you take a look, we were in the orange on the dashboard. And so when I started taking a deeper look at why our numbers look so poor, I wasn't happy with our graduation rate. And so I took a deeper look in this and started really delving into how we can increase our graduation rate. And so what we did last spring about this time is we implemented mandatory summer school for all potential fifth-year seniors and credit-deficient 11th graders. So 47 students were identified, and about 27 of those were seniors. And over half of those seniors, because we put this mandatory summer school in place, over half of them ended up graduating on time. Surprise, surprise. So that was a good thing, because that means that's less students having to take it over summer. And then the rest of them graduated over summer school. And we only brought back 3 fifth-year seniors this year. And when you think about this, every year prior, since I've been at VCIS, and this is my 10th year there, we have brought back anywhere from 20 to 30 fifth-year seniors. So this was a huge accomplishment. And this is something we will continue. And see, if you take a look, it moved us up to green. And so I'm really proud of this one. So we increased 9.3% on this. So taking a deeper look at our dashboard, this has really helped us to be able to increase in these areas. One of our areas that we definitely want to grow, and it is a struggle, is our math. So one of our math goals, and this is going to continue probably for at least the next 3 years to be our focus, is to increase the number of students scoring met or exceeded on our dashboard. And if we can hit the 3 points, literally 3 points, we can move to the next level. And so and this is something we've been working really hard on. So in 2018, we did score in red, and so some of the things that we have been doing, and we know we have a lot of room to grow. We are 134 points below standard as of 2018. So last year, what we have done is we've implemented Math 360 in the fall of 2018. We're still continuing it through this year, and we'll continue it in the future. It is not the magic bullet, but we do know it is a strategy that works well in the classroom. We have strong PLC collaboration, and it's been led by administration. So myself and my CNI have been in on the Math PLC and the collaborations every Monday with them. And we have also had consistent review of assessments in the classroom, and also evaluating classroom instruction and having really good conversations. So from that, I feel we've made gains. And so for the 2019 last year, our dashboard did go up 1 level. We did increase by 16.2 points. And so what we are continuing to do is, obviously, we're going to continue the current action steps, and then adding in this semester, as a matter of fact, we started a project-based learning classroom in our integrated 2A course that really focuses on the students learning through doing. And kind of taking away more of the direct instruction. And so we are looking at implementing that through all of our integrated math classes from 1 through 3. We have strategic coaching and professional development school-wide, so this is not just for our math teachers. We have taken a focus school-wide on math, and so we're doing professional development using Joe Bowler's mathematical mindsets for even our supervising teachers, because we know that our supervising teachers have direct impact on all of our students. And so being able to have the conversations with them to change their thinking about math, because how many times have we said, math is not my best subject? And students hear this, and we want to change those conversations with students. So we have implemented it school-wide. We have implemented a new state testing schedule. Rather than making it what's easy for the school, we're doing what's right for the students this year. We're separating the testing dates out. We're actually starting next week for our English, and then 2 weeks later, we're going to do the math, so we don't overwhelm students with so much testing. And then we're also looking at potentially doing a mandatory enrollment and a third-year math elective. We did pilot something like that this year with an IXL program where any juniors that had already finished their third or their second year of math requirement, we put them in IXL math. It's really a support class that helps support students at their level. And there was a lot of, backlash from that, but as students started getting into the course, they actually started enjoying it. And so this is something we're considering. We're going to come back to the drawing board and take a look at this. And it's really just so that we can help support students. So when it comes to the CASP test, they haven't been a year out of math and really struggle with the test. So English is another goal that we want to focus on. Again, if we can grow 3 points, we can move from orange to yellow on the dashboard. So 2018, we were orange, 9.9 points below standard, so it's not too far off. We're moving in that direction. We tend to be about a year behind in curriculum rollout of from the district, and the reasoning for that is we have to take the newly adopted curriculum and we have to develop it into an independent study model, because you can't just take it and hand it to someone and say, go for it. It has to be written for independent study. So we take a year to rewrite that curriculum. So we did roll ours out in 18-19 for English 2 and American Lit, and then we provided additional professional development for all of our supervising teachers in the curriculum. We also did a rollout. It was new for our reading improvement classes for all students in grade 9, and then also that's when we rolled out our core labs in English and social studies. So if you look at 2019, we did not move. We grew just slightly, but 2018-19 was an implementation year. So I do anticipate that we should make some movement this year on the dashboard. So this year we've implemented mandatory intervention for EL students and students scoring low on our MAP assessment, which is an all-school assessment that we provide to students for reading and math 3 times a year. We have a review and implement new state testing schedule, just like I just explained before, same thing with the math. And then refined all of our all-school writing program. So all students that enroll with us are required to take our all-school writing program regardless of their level. It's really to help them support them in developing, as a writer, developing good sentence structures, paragraphs, and essays. And then continue the reading improvement course and increase numbers of core labs in our English language arts classes. And then our suspension rate. So again, our goal is, I feel confident that we can move from orange to green this school year, increasing or decreasing from 2.2% to 1.5. So we were orange on the dashboard in 2018, but if you look, we have a pretty low suspension rate. I believe it says 1.8%. My eyes are bad. Yeah, 1.8%. And so that's a pretty low suspension rate. So taking a deeper look into our information. Again, in 2018, we had a population, again, this is the constant turnover, 910 students. We had 16 students suspended out of all those students. Last year, 2019, 861 students, 19 students were suspended. We do have the lowest suspension rate in all of the high schools in the district. And at this time, compared to last year, we're already down 3 suspensions. So I do anticipate we should be moving on the dashboard for this year. So again, we're at 2.2% as of the 2019 dashboard. And Some of our action steps, we have added a counselor onto our program this year to increase the social emotional learning services. We've also added a social worker intern. This is something we've never had before. This person is there to help support students in group sessions and additional therapy sessions, and to continue counseling students regarding behavior and encourage self-monitoring. And so I feel like our staff has been doing a really good job with this piece. And then finally, our college and career goal. This is another area that's been a deep focus for us. We do have a lot of movement to make here, and so we are looking to move our indicator from 8 to 12%, which should move us from red to yellow on the dashboard. So in 2018, not doing so hot, but we've taken a lot of steps to get there and get to where we need to be. And we've been very honest about what our numbers look like and the data, so that way we can really make some changes for our school. And so what we did in 2018-19 is we did a lot of pathway planning and implementation. We submitted all of our pathway courses to UC for submission for A to G approval, and we received the A to G approval on those courses. And then we've also provided teachers with professional development on each of the pathways, so that way they are aware of what it is and then how they can pass that information on to students. And then also the fall 2019 registration for classes is pushing, encouraging students into those pathways. So again, we had a slight increase, 8% prepared, but I do anticipate this we are already, after looking at the data, we are already going to meet this goal compared to how many students are already completing pathways, have already completed COS courses. So I do anticipate this will move this year. And so again, we have added with the counselor consistent academic counseling, especially at the 10th grade level. And then we've added a college and career center to support students to apply for scholarships and college enrollment. We have COS on our campus that are meeting with students and creating counseling appointments. So we're really helping students get to that next level. Okay, that's all I have. Any questions?
Is there any public comment? Board member comments? Ms. Gamoyan.
I love your little action steps. They're not little, they're huge. But I have a couple questions on the math. The PLCs are supposed to be teacher-led and they're admin-led?
Yes. Okay, so let me explain that a little bit. We've had some turnover in our math department, and it's been a little unstable, if you will. Okay. And so we've really felt that administration needed to be in there as a part to be able to support the teachers. It is definitely guided by the teachers, supported by the administration, okay, but to be able to help the conversation. There was, unfortunately, none of our teachers were confident to be able to lead that, and it was a little bit all over the board, and so we wanted to make sure we provided some consistency with that.
Good. And then your third year of math you have here, the one that you offer right now, the IXL?
Yes.
Okay, that's not A to G, is
Oh,
it?
absolutely not. No. All it is it's a program. It's a program that can help support students in growth, I would say, in reading and math. And it's used as a support in math classes. It's in no way a replacement, or it is in no way a math course. It is really to continue students growing their own learning in math, so that way when testing does come, they have that exposure, and so they're ready to be able to test.
Now, do you think maybe you might consider that third elective a A through G class?
We have, we've had a lot of things that we've talked about. I think, unfortunately, we still have integrated math 3 and we have pre-calculus on our campus, okay, but we were targeting students who just no longer wanted to take math because they met their requirement. And so that would in turn hurt them, and we're trying to also explain to them the importance of taking that third year. We would prefer to push them more into the integrated 3 classes, and that is what our focus will be for the 2020 fall registration, is enrolling our juniors into those courses, and then they have to fight their way out of them. So that is our plan.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if there's something that could be more beneficial for the students. So if they don't want to take the Math 3, is there like accounting or some other class
Right.
that will really count toward going to college? Because if it's mandatory, I think it needs to be AG.
Right. I agree. I understand. It was more of a pilot class, and so there were, I would say, we enrolled about 59 students. We identified the students who were not enrolled in a math class, and so we did put them in there. We did have some parents that did opt their students out for it, and we did take them out of the class. We put them in there. We called it mandatory because we know that the students were probably going to want to fight their way out of it, but we know that once they got into it, they were very happy to be in it. They found that they were enjoying the class. It was, again, more like a support class, so that way they wouldn't lose their skills. And I know it was not perfect, but it was kind of our Band-Aid to get students with the exposure of math.
And testing is not end all.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I would personally like to see you offer a math class that could help the kids get to college or be beneficial for a career rather than a support class.
And the main purpose when we focused on this is because of the new multiple measures with the colleges, and realizing that if a student has only taken 2 years of math and they bomb the CAS test, for example, if they go on to college and the colleges see that, they have a poor score on the CAS test and that they've only taken 2 years of math, it could then put them into a support class. So really it was to help them, and I understand about the testing. I absolutely understand about that piece. It really, and that's the other piece that we're driving home to students, is the importance of taking that additional year of math. And I in no way will make this a mandatory. It is more of like the support class, so that way they do their best on it, and it can be used as a multiple measure when going into college.
Mr. Foster?
Mrs. Reed, your school was one of the first that I visited, and I'm hoping before the end of the year to get back to you and start the process again. I was just wondering, are you expecting more students and more growth in your program in the coming years?
Are you talking population-wise?
Yes, ma'am.
Not tremendously. We last year, I think we topped out at about 610, and that's where our comfort zone is. We want to maintain a smaller population because we're able to serve the students better when the school is smaller.
Yeah. Secondly, you mentioned something about religious reasons. Or could you expand on that? You're the first person, administrator, to mention that. Potential problem. So
Right.
Can you explain that for me, please?
So we have students that, again, with their background, the Jehovah Witness families we have a large population of students that give back to their church, and so they need a little bit more flexibility within their schedules. So that's a large population of our students. So that's one example. Sure.
Mrs. Naylor?
Yeah, that's a tough population because they're, like you said, they're in and out a lot. I know you talked about the CTE course pathways. Is that through your eDynamics? Because if you look at your courses for your pathway CTE, because I know you're trying to do that college and career, are those classes that your teachers are teaching, or is that something from the eDynamics? Where does that fall?
So all of our CTE pathways are all seat-based classes. They're not eDynamic classes. The eDynamic classes are additional ones for students to explore different CTE pathways, but they're not integrated into our pathways.
Okay. And one more question. I know that dual enrollment's a big thing, and you're trying to get the math and the English.
Absolutely.
Have you reached out to COS to see if you can have a few more dual enrollment classes that would meet those CTE college and career indicators? Would probably be a little easier way for you to kind of get to that point?
Absolutely. So right now we have our medical terminology. We are using the COS class, and so our students, we have 28 students enrolled in the medical terminology COS class this semester. I'm actually meeting with Brandon tomorrow from COS to talk about some additional courses for the fall semester that we can integrate into our child development pathway. And so we also some of our students we have that are taking English 1 and English 2 over at VTech. So VTech, we partner with those, they give us some seats. And then we have a lot of students taking concurrent classes over at COS on their own.
That gives them the initiative to to go
absolutely.
On. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
But that is an area that we are focusing on and will explore more.
Other board member comments? This is an action item. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Vasquez.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I clarify, when you're saying you put kids in these classes so they can fight their way out, it's really an opportunity. The choices are, they're going to avoid math, or they're going to be put in this class and really show, look, I know how to do this.
Right.
Or, wow, I can do this. And
Right,
it's just,
absolutely.
I mean, we know that very few people actually pass the statistics show like 11% of Latinos actually pass a transferable math class in their
Right,
first semester. I
right.
mean, the statistics
Yeah.
are, so this really gives them a chance to even see where they are in math.
Absolutely.
And if they're way beyond that, then they're way beyond that. But
Yeah.
at least we're catching them and we're giving them support.
Absolutely.
Right? That's what's going on?
Absolutely. And you know, I apologize because I feel like I wasn't very clear on that, because our focus is not so that our scores are better. Our focus, and I mean, it's running on our digital media throughout our school, that why it's so important for the students. And that's the one thing we're trying to drive home, is why this is so important for you, why it's so important that you have a strong foundation in math. And again, it's really to help support them as they grow as students and to support them on that next level.
And this was one of the online classes or a seat class? Because I know on the online, like the Khan Academy, you kind of go at your own pace, and you kind of,
Yeah.
and you guys are kind of like that anyway, right? Because you're independent study, that they're really going to get what they need and be able to catch those things when they're missing. So
Absolutely.
when they do move on, they're stronger in math.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the
Yeah, and the IXL is an online-based program, and it is led by a math teacher, so the students come in and check in with him. But it was just kind of something we wanted to see how it would go this year. But we absolutely want to push that third year, and the why is so important to us, and helping the students to understand their learning. And that's also goes right along with how we're going to be developing our math courses, because such a focus on math that we want to excite students about it, because I think there's such a stigma about math, and we're trying to remove that from our campus, and then start working on our students with that as well.
Great. I'm hoping that, I know we had a lot of discussion last time we were talking about the third year. We talked about a lot of math electives, so I'm hoping that your
Right.
campus is in part of that conversation, because you do have a unique set of students that might be able to bring in some ideas. And I still remember one of my visits to Redwood where they were just starting the 3D printers, and they kept saying, man, if our kids could get the computer-generated, what's it called, CAD? Computer-assisted in as freshmen, then they'd really be ready to do some of this other stuff.
Right.
So I'm hoping that as a group, we can really come up with some math electives to be exciting. I'm
I
a
agree,
big fighter
yeah.
for math and math anxiety and
Yeah.
math fear, so thank you.
Absolutely, and that's what we're trying to eradicate.
Mr. Guerrero?
I like what you're doing, and I know what independent study looked like back in the early 2000s. I move for approval.
I have a motion by Mr. Guerrero, a second by Dr. Vasquez. All in favor of renewing the charter?
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, student representative report. Mr. Krebsbach. Did I say that right? Krebsbach. I've been practicing, but I guess it didn't work.
So for VCIS graduates, COS student specialists gain knowledge and priority registration with STEPS processes. 96% of VCIS students have registered with the California College's website and has begun utilizing their services. On March 5th, 5 VCIS students have represented and sold their artwork at the For the Love of Art show. The VCIS Culinary Department made and served desserts supporting the Visalia Education Foundation during the For the Love of Art show on Thursday, March 5th. Many VCIS art students will be visiting the Getty Museum on Tuesday, March 24th. Redwood High School Choir Program has an upcoming concert on March 2nd, which already passed, and festival is happening on Thursday. Track and field is getting ready for a great season, and the first meet was Friday, February 28th, which had already passed. Also, boys basketball had a playoff game in San Luis Obispo and ultimately lost in the Valley Championship game 2 Saturdays ago against Independence High School. El Diamante EDHS held their 2020-2021 ASB Executive Board election. This week, They will be holding their class elections as well. El Diamante had a successful Aloha Spring Fling dance, which took place last Saturday. El Diamante ASB also visited Linwood Elementary to read to lower grade levels for their Dr. Seuss week. El Diamante held grad night ticket sales for Disneyland this last Monday. El Diamante Empowering Women Club and ASB teamed up to decorate and celebrate International Women's Month. El Diamante ASB is also preparing for Mr. Minor Week, which will be next week. Sequoia will be hosting their career fair on March 12th and also has softball this week. VTech FFA president made to FFA regional for a job interview competition. She finished in the top 3 in the sections last month. VTech's farm power team will compete in their first competition this month, and baby chicks have been purchased to rebuild VTech's poultry program. VTech had a visit from their veterinarian partner who conducted newborn animal checkups and provided student insight about the process. VTech's student-run farm store reopened to students this month, and they are enjoying the variety of foods being offered on campus. VTech's blood drive was a huge success with students, parents, and friends volunteering to donate their blood as well. VTech's Denim and Diamonds fundraiser was a huge success, raising money towards scholarships, textbooks, and various clubs and organizations. VTech students and families contributed to avid class baskets for the silent auction with some of their live auction items made by VTech shop students. Also, Golden West High School is welcoming a guest speaker, Tony Hoffman, to campus to speak about his experience and hopefully inspire some students to become part of the solution. Mount Whitney High School finished their winter sports rally and have recognized their athletes and teachers in a half-court shooting contest. Mount Whitney also celebrated their Kindness Week in February from the 11th to 12th. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Krebs. Dr. Vasquez, for board member reports.
I'll keep it short. I got to go read in Goshen, which was wonderful, and I got to go see the new building at Sequoia, which is also beautiful. But that's my report.
Mr. Foster.
I visited several schools. The first one I visited was Green Acres Middle School, and of course, Mrs. Corliss, your sister, is the principal there. And what really impressed me was the multi-generational leaders, the administrators in our district. Their parents were administrators. They are administrators. Their kids go into the same school. I was really impressed by that, and they're doing a good job there. On my way to Green Acres, I don't know if Mrs. Wingfield is there, but okay, good. I see bus drivers, and it's totally at random. I don't search them out, but they were making right-hand turns from Goshen Avenue onto Hall Street, and it's a big wide turn. They made them beautifully. I was a little scared with the first one, but after seeing the second and third one, they did a great job. I went with Mr. Guerrero to Sequoia High. What a beautiful facility that is. Toured that for a couple hours. It's going to be a real model, great campus for us. And I think that's all I have to say. Thank you. Also, I'd like to have one thing. Just like we have achievement awards for high schools, I'd like to see maybe some achievement awards for elementary schools, if that's all possible, if that's possible.
I believe they actually do that.
Yeah, I'd like to see it here.
It's an awful lot of kids.
I understand that. We could do it in the stages.
Ms. Gamoyan.
No report.
Mr. Fulmer. No report. Mrs. Naylor.
Well, I just want to say that a lot of us I saw at the Goshen to read to the students, and I was a high school teacher, and it was just really delightful to read to second graders and their little eyes, and they were just so into the book that I was reading. So it was a lot of fun. But all of the board members, most of us were there.
Mr. Guerrero.
Yeah, on February 26th, I toured Visalia Adult School, and I also went to some of the at least one Visalia Consortium site at Cutler Rossi School District. I also attended the Golden West freshman baseball game in Reedley on 2/26. I attended the bond bylaws meeting on 227. I visited Valley Oak Middle School Assembly on 228, and that assembly was on self-controlled. I was really impressed that they got all the kids into the multi-purpose room, and it was really a nice assembly. I also attended the WAS Mount Whitney meet and greet on March 1st. I attended the board budget study session on March 3rd. I went to the Mount Whitney WAS final report on March 4th. I toured the Sequoia High School on March 4th with Neeson Foster. Very nice school. I also went to the Golden West High School Academic Award Night, and that was on March 4th. I went to Executive Committee on March 5th. I attended the Golden West High School freshman baseball game versus Sanger on March 5th. I attended Golden West High School varsity softball game versus Madera on March 6th. I went to read to 4 kindergarten classes at Goshen Elementary, and that was a tough crowd. Anyway, I also, in the afternoon on March 6th, Saturday on March 7th, I went to the Reedley Tournament to see Golden West girls softball versus Sierra Pacific. And on Sunday, on March the 8th, went to Golden West High School WAS accreditation meet and greet.
I'll give no report this evening. Dr. Vasquez? I'm sorry, too many doctors. Dr. Avalon.
Speaking of doctors, I want to take a moment to thank our Director of Health Services, Susie Skadden. For the past couple weeks, she has been the brain power to provide updates for the coronavirus, getting out educational information and updates to our community and our parents and families. We have, with her help, we have been in constant contact with our Tulare County Health Officer, Dr. Hott, and so Susie communicates with her on a regular basis now, sometimes daily. And so we have been providing information to families via phone, text, and email. We also are utilizing all of our social media services and sending out emails to staff and anybody on our AllVUSD email list. So we do have plans in place in case we need to take further measures, and those will be taken in conjunction with the Tulare County Health Department. That's not something we would do on our own. And we have enhanced our prevention education, thanks to Director Skadden, and we have also enhanced our disinfectant measures. So we continue to monitor the situation on a daily basis, and we're monitoring for field trips and classrooms and gatherings. And again, you know, we've got all of that. It's a changing situation statewide, still nothing here in Tulare County, but we're monitoring it. So I just want to assure you all of that, and we'll keep you posted.
Thank you. Thank you, and it's time for staff dismissal. Inclusion number 19, recommended expulsions. I have a motion by Mr. Fulmer, second by Dr. Vasquez. All in favor?
Youth Rep abstains, unanimous voting by board.
Recommended suspended expulsions. Motion by Dr. Vasquez, second by Mr. Fulmer. All in favor?
Bill? All board members vote yes, student rep abstains.
The general agenda, second interim financial report. Mr. Hernandez.
Good evening, members of the board, President Crabtree and Dr. Raveline, Nathan Hernandez, Admin Services, and I am joined by Jessica Villarreal, Director of Admin Services overseeing our budget, and we're going to present for you tonight the second interim budget report. And so we're going to go through and review the second interim report, some highlights and changes for this year. The general fund summary, we'll look at our restricted and unrestricted funds, and then I'll come back up and do a state budget update, and we'll look at our multi-year projections. So I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Villarreal.
Thank you. Okay, so this slide goes over our budget and LCAP development process.
So starting with the 1920 current fiscal year, we are here where we were presenting second interim, which is really just fine-tuning the first interim that we brought to you in December. At this point, we just have a better picture of what our revenue and our expenditures will be that will take us through the rest of the school or fiscal year. But we won't know the actuals until we bring the unaudited actuals to you in September. In looking at the 2021 fiscal year, work has already begun back in the fall with the community meetings for development of the LCAP, and then reviewing our enrollment projections. And then in January, when the governor's January budget proposal was released, that gave us our first glimpse at how our revenue projections were going to be, COLA, and the pension rates. For the last month, we've been looking at our staffing projections and then the allocations for site and department budgets. Next month, Mr. Sullivan will bring to you the first draft of the LCAP. And then in May, when the governor releases the May revise, we'll go back and revise our district revenue projections. And then in June, we'll bring the LCAP and the budget for first and second read. And that should kick off our 2021 fiscal year in July. So diving deeper into the second interim, this report documents the changes between budget adoption and January 31st. So this report certifies whether the district's ability to meet its financial obligations for the next 2 fiscal years with either a positive, qualified, or a negative certification. I'm happy to report that we have a positive certification, which means we've met our 3% reserve, and we have positive projections for the next 2 fiscal years. So looking at our revenue for restricted and unrestricted, we have a net change from first interim to second interim of $4.28 million. And then for expenditures, again, for restricted and unrestricted, our net change from first interim to second interim was $3.47 million. And then we'll just dive in into the general fund unrestricted specifically for this slide. And it shows a $14.76 million deficit spending. But that includes a $9.15 million one-time cost. And if we take that out and less the carryover, our true deficit spending is more at a $5.61 million. The best way to look at this slide is just to kind of think of your own personal budget. So you have your income, you have your utilities, you have your splurges, maybe you got a new 70-inch TV, or maybe you painted your living room, that kind of thing. So when you want to get your true ongoing costs, you want to take those out, because you're not going to, I hope you're not going to buy a TV every month or paint your living room every month. So you take those things out, and that gives you a true picture of what your ongoing expenditures will be. And that's what we've done here. And again, it brought it down to a $5.6 million deficit spending.
Thank you. And we shared much of this information with you at the budget study session last week. And so we're just going to go and jump right into state budget proposal. This is the proposal from January. And so this is the estimated COLA for next year of 2.29%, or $1.2 billion. The governor has also proposed some other one-time funding. Some of this funding, like for special education of $645 million, is ongoing, but many of the other funds that are included in the governor's budget are one-time dollars. There is a proposal to include $1.5 billion in sale of Prop 51 bonds, but again, there is $0.0 billion of one-time discretionary grants and $0.00 billion of pension relief. So there's no proposal in the governor's budget to provide any of those additional relief efforts for schools. So looking ahead, the governor will issue his revision to that proposal in May, and we'll bring that back to the board with any changes before we bring you our adopted budget. We do still have some significant challenges ahead of us. We have one more year of STRS cost increases as well as PERS cost increases. It kind of levels out after that. The impact of minimum wage, we have tried to mitigate some of that with some changes in classified salaries, and so it still will impact our budget over the next 2 years, but not to the level as originally projected. And then, of course, maintaining competitive salaries while we're in a low COLA environment. The average in the state's COLA has been just over 2% the last 5 years, while our costs have increased on average of 4% each year. So when we have a balanced budget, the new money doesn't offset the new cost. We have to make reductions. And then, of course, increased cost of servicing special education. So the multi-year projection is, again, we shared this at the study session last Tuesday, projecting that in the current year we have a deficit of $5.6 million. We do have growth that we have not added to the budget yet. Once we have our second period attendance numbers in April, we'll have solid numbers for growth. We're estimating about $2.9 million in additional funding for the I won't get it right, close to 300 new students that we have this year. And then projecting for next year, 2021, a $5.45 million deficit without making any changes, adding our new cost for pensions and salaries, step and column, and those things, but no other cost of living adjustments included. And then out to 2021-22, where the deficit is decreased by a little, again, with additional state funding and lower pension cost increases. So that's our multi-year projection in the unrestricted general fund. And with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is there any public comment? Board member comments? Ms. Vasquez?
I have a question. If you could go back one slide, please. I want to understand better the one-time costs. I mean, I know I went out and bought a 70-inch TV, but don't I still have to pay for it? And where does that cost?
So, all of these one-time costs, the $9.15 million, the $6.15 million, which is what Mr. Price referred to earlier, is carryover from LCAP. And so we budgeted for things in our LCAP in the fiscal year 18-19. They didn't get spent at June 30th. And so some of those items we needed to continue to budget for in 19-20. So when we bring those items over, there's no revenues for those items. The revenues were in the prior fiscal year, and so it looks in the current year like it's deficit spending, but really what happened is the balances fell to the ending balance last year. We rebudgeted them in the current year, and we're spending them in the current year.
So they're like things that have been encumbered, and we just kept the money. We didn't get to spend it, but they already had something
That's
they were going
correct.
for.
And so those were like instructional materials, technology, professional development, and there were some classroom facilities and furniture.
So we have the money to pay for those things because we encumbered it already. It's
Correct.
just seen as a deficit because we don't see in that year's budget extra money for
It was budgeted last year, right?
But we're bringing the money over as well as, that's why.
So if you had a revenue of $10, but you only spent $5, but you owed $5 because you had something on order and you paid for it, and the next month you had $5 going to your savings, and you use that $5 in the next month to pay for it.
Okay, thank you.
Other board member comments? Ms. Gamoyan?
I get uptight when I'm missing a slide, so can you send us the state budget slide? Email it to us?
Sure.
Is it in the beginning? Oh, is it out of order? Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Other comments? This is an action item. Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Dr. Vasquez, a second by Mr. Fulmer. All in favor of approving the second interim?
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Hernandez and Mrs. Villarreal, for your fine report. Enclosure number 21, number 22, school calendar, second and final read. Kristen Corliss.
All right. Good evening, Board President Crabtree, Superintendent Raveline, and members of the board. My name is Kristen Corliss, and I'm a director in the Human Resources Department. Tonight, I bring to you the second and final reading for the 2021 and the 2022 school calendar year. So back on February 25th, Mrs. Somavia brought this to the board meeting. That was the first meeting. We reviewed it. So really, tonight is an opportunity to discuss, ask any questions, and then move forward if you so choose to do.
Is there any public comment? Board member comments? I have a motion by Dr. Vasquez, second by Mrs. Naylor. All in favor?
Motion passes unanimously.
Enclosure number 23, recommendation and resolution to eliminate particular kinds of classified service and classified positions. Mrs. Corliss.
Okay. It's just me again. So once again, we are bringing to you tonight, this is a recommendation and possible resolution for elimination of particular kinds of service in our classified service. So these are either reductions or eliminations to current classified positions. Some of those positions are currently filled, and some of those positions are vacant at this time. And so really, those are either at this point, eliminations or reductions that are made for one of two reasons, and that is lack of work or lack of funds. So that is what I bring to you this evening.
A motion by Mr. Fulmer.
Don't we have public comment?
Oh, I'm sorry. I need a second. I have a motion and a second. I need a second.
I'll second
I have a second by Mr. Foster. Did you get that, Delia? Okay. Mr. Barnett.
Good evening, Board President Crabtree, Superintendent Raveline, board members. Would like to make a public comment about this. This is regarding, like she said, full-time position. Someone's losing their benefits, their job, their pay. And I've looked at these positions and proposed eliminations and hours reductions, and it's very clear that the district is attempting to find some way of cutting cost through the reduction of benefits of cost. The staff members who are listed tonight all work with our schools, and most of them provide district support, classified, certificated support in classrooms to our students. Cutting their position and hours will not only negatively affect our students, but it will also impact the morale of employees, as it is already happening now. Before you condemn these employees and their families by eliminating their positions or reducing hours to take benefits, I'd like the board to evaluate the $105,000 Transparency California shows our district has paid in health benefits for board members who do not work directly with our students. Also here tonight, I had invited some classified to show up and support, and this is their opportunity to speak up also, if they choose.
Thank you for your comments. I would like to point out that, sometimes these things do happen, but the district and the board all work very hard to find jobs for those people whose positions are displaced. So I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Board member comments? Do I have a motion? I have a motion by Mr. Fulmer.
already did that, didn't we? I thought we did that. I think we're voting.
Oh, I'm sorry, we did. We had the motion in the second. All in favor? That was a long time ago.
Motion passes unanimously.
Enclosure number 24, board policy revisions, adoptions, deletions. This is a first read. Dr. Raveling.
Yes, as you indicated, President Crabtree, this is a first read. We normally take these all as one bulk, unless somebody has questions and wants to pull one for discussion. If there is no discussion, we would bring these back to you at the next board meeting to vote on.
Or we can amend and vote on them now. Second read? Okay, then we'll take this as the first read and move for the second read. Thank you. And that's the end of our meeting. Thank you for attending.